Am I the fool for reminding my SIL she isn't a mother on Mother's Day? My brother Miles lost his wife Sarah 4 years ago. He has a son, Eric, 11. Miles married his wife Josie about 18 months ago. And yes, she's trying the whole second mom thing. Eric is in grief therapy, and Miles is being better about pushing Josie on Eric than he could be, but he also hasn't been as respectful of the fact that Eric doesn't see her as a mother as he could be. Sarah unfortunately didn't have sisters, so I'm the woman closest to her age in Eric's life, and I'm trying to be there for him as much as I can. We're very close. Not that I'll ever take Sarah's place, no one will, but he knows if there's ever something he doesn't want to talk to his dad about, that my home is always open to him. So for Mother's Day, Eric wanted to visit Sarah's grave and then come to Mother's Day lunch with me and my family. Miles agreed to this plan initially, but the day before he canceled on Eric's behalf, saying that he and Josie thought it was best that Eric spend the whole day with them, since Eric should show appreciation to Josie on Mother's Day. I argued with Miles, and eventually Miles said I could come by and see Eric and get the gift he'd gotten me, but that he wanted Eric to stay with him and Josie. When I went over to the house, Eric gave me some flowers and a small candle, and we were talking outside, and he said he had had his phone taken away because he had refused to say or do anything for Josie for Mother's Day. Imagine punishing a child because he doesn't love you. I didn't say anything to Eric, but when I was leaving, I said to Miles that I thought he was doing untold damage to his son by bullying him into pretending he cares about Josie. Josie said it wasn't bullying for wanting Eric to participate in celebrating her on Mother's Day. So I looked at her and said, "Josie, whose mother are you?" Josie had a miscarriage a few months ago, so this hit her pretty hard. I'm not going to lie and say I didn't realize this would upset her, but frankly, she isn't Eric's mother, and she can't make up for wishing she was by making the day harder for him. Josie burst into tears and started shouting at me, and Miles told me to just take Eric with me because obviously this whole thing has been a failure. Miles is saying I went too far, reminding Josie she isn't a mother, but I feel like someone had to, because she was acting like she's entitled to the title when the child doesn't feel that way. If she was having a hard day and wanted to memorialize what she's been through, then that's her business. But Eric shouldn't be bullied into a pantomime because of her grief. Am I the fool for setting up a just-in-case fund for my daughter? My daughter has been married to her husband for 3 years, and they recently had their first child. The entire time they've been married, she's been a housewife, and now she's a stay-at-home mom with no plans to return to work. I think that's fine, and have been supportive. I also know she and her husband both have sizable life insurance policies, so if God forbid one dies, they'll be okay. However, she also signed a prenup, which again I think is smart, but according to my daughter, she'd get a very small settlement. And even with child support, there's a good chance she'd have to return to work. And after being out of the workforce for a bit, who knows if that'll be a challenge? My main worry is my niece fell into this scenario, and even with child support, she struggled. So my husband, her father, and I set up a just-in-case account. If she and her husband divorce, she'll have money to fall back on just in case. If they remain married past the time my husband and I die, it'll just be added to what she'll inherit. I didn't intend on telling her about it unless it happened, but my husband pointed out that if she was ever in a situation where she wanted to leave but worried she financially couldn't, it'd be good for her to know she has a plan B. So we told her, and she was a little surprised. She said she appreciated it but felt we were rooting against her. I said we love her husband and hope they have a long, healthy marriage. We have always been supportive, but this is similar to the prenup, a just-in-case, a last resort. Well, she told her husband, and he's pissed at us as well, saying that we don't trust him. I said it's looking out for our daughter and really is no different from the prenup. I added that just as he'll always want to protect his daughter, we'll always want to protect ours. Am I the fool?
Am I the fool? For telling a family they weren't actually invited, so my son had his 10th birthday party at a jump place on Saturday. He wanted to invite 5 friends. We sent the invites early enough, all went well. Until a few days before the party, he said his friend wanted to invite a girl. This girl is not very nice to my son, So I told him, no, let your friend know I said that wasn't going to work, so it wouldn't look like my son was at fault. Lo and behold, the day of the party, the girl shows up with her dad and her 3 siblings. The dad let me know he didn't get the info till the day prior, and all that was written on the ripped paper was the place and time. I asked the girl who invited her, and she told me the friend of my son. I let the dad know they were welcome to hang with the party and have cake and pizza, but he would have to pay for their entrance fee as they weren't actually invited. He got his kids and left pretty fast. A few people think I was in the wrong, but that would have been an extra $100 I did not plan for. So was I the fool? Am I the fool for telling my DIL her feelings are not my problem, and for fuck's sakes, you don't need to be invited to everything? I will keep this as short as possible. The family has a code word that means to meet up at my home because there is bad news. So emergency family meeting. This is something that is extremely rare, and it means to drop what you are doing and get over as soon as possible. It is only an invite for the kids. No in-laws are invited. This was discussed and agreed upon by everyone. This was due to everyone being most comfortable with sharing bad news with their siblings and not having to be polite with the in-laws. For example, my daughter used the code word, and it was an emergency family meeting. She was getting a divorce and needed help. After everyone fills in their spouses, but not all the gritty details. This happened today. An emergency meeting was called by my husband. In short, he needs surgery. I won't go into more than that. Everyone left and I got a call from my DIL upset that she wasn't invited to the meeting. I asked if she knew what theses were and she told me my son explained it. She reiterated that she should still be invited and I am excluding her. That she is upset and expects an invite next time. I told her that her feelings aren't my problem, and for fuck's sales, you don't need to be invited to everything. She called me a jerk. My son told me he will deal with it, but I could have been nicer. Am I the fool for not feeling sorry for my wife when exactly what I told her would happen happened? We have an old house. There is a 5-inch wide horizontal ledge on the stairway to the basement. She likes to store stuff there. I have been telling her for years it's a bad idea. Whenever I go downstairs to do laundry or put away groceries in our pantry, I make sure that ledge is empty. She always says that it's just handy and that she always means to clean it up. I find all kinds of crap there. Bottles, jars, open boxes of garbage bags, lighter fluid, you name it. She came in from the backyard where she was gardening to use the bathroom. On her way out, she went downstairs for something. I heard her fall and then scream. After we got home from the hospital where they reattached her toe, I asked her why she thought that leaving her garden shears there was a good idea. She says that I'm being an asshole for saying, I told you so. I didn't. I just asked her why she did it. I feel very bad that she got injured. I feel terrible that she feels dumb for leaving a heavy, sharp object where it could fall easily. I feel shitty that I didn't see them in time to put them somewhere safe. None of that means what happened wasn't entirely predictable and entirely her fault. Once again, for the cheap seat, I did not say I told you so. Am I the fool for asking about her thought process?